How did you get there? So today on the show we have a special guest and his name is Chris. And I cannot wait for him to introduce himself and tell you guys a little bit about him, but this is going to be a juicy one. Hi Chris.
Hi, thank you
Welcome.
for having me. Thank you for having
Honestly,
me.
it's an honor to have you on the show.
No,
Thank
it's
you
a
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you for having me. An amazing setup. And
Oh,
yeah,
perfect. Please do introduce yourself to our viewers. Tell them
course.
a little bit about you and then we can go from there.
Of course. So my name's Chris. I'm a teenage entrepreneur. I run 2 companies here in London. One's an event planners and one's a social platform for young entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, I still study accounting at university also, so I'm just battling through that. But apart from that, I'm born and bred in London, and I've been an entrepreneur from a young age, from wheeling and dealing in the school toilets to now being an employer. So now I'm looking forward to sharing a bit more about my process and how I got to where I am.
Wow, that's amazing. Wait, so you just dropped something there, like you started from a long time ago. And then I'm saying, I was like, wait, what was I doing when I was a teenager? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you guys didn't grow up in London, but in London, I don't know, you guys may have had it, but we always had that awkward kid in the school toilets who was just selling Haribos and Lucozades. I was one of those kids from the ages, from like 11 to 16.
Wow.
Haribos, Lucozades, anything I could really get my hands on. And after a while, I started just picking up on trends. Like, do you guys remember Shambhala bracelets? Yeah. I used to go on eBay, buy them for like £2, resell them in high school for like £25.
Wait, from £2 to 25?
When I got clocked, it was so awkward. Oh my God, I didn't know how to get out of that one night. Then after that, carried on selling sweets, literally anything I could get my hands on. And then you guys remember Segways? Then Segways came in, and I used to do the same thing. Instead of going on eBay and buying Shambhalas for £2, I'd go on Amazon and buy Segways for £200, come into school and resell them for £350, £400. And it was the same process every time. It was buy for cheap, sell for more. And I was just finding different products. And what I'd done, which I can actually look back and say that, is that in doing that, I met so many people, so many different backgrounds, understood what it is to go into a conversation and be able to, instead of it being a 50-50, make it a 70-30, how to control it and divert it in a way to make them purchase something off you, because it is a skill at the end of the day. And after that, I just started using my salesman techniques into legitimate business. And then I went into a transition from high school. So I grew up in a bit of a rough area called Norfolk in London. And I was very fortunate to move to an area called Ruislip, where you have a lot of affluent people. And now I went from an area where, you go out with people and, they're reluctant to spend £10 on an Uber to get to a place.
Take me with £5.
Yeah, exactly. To a place where, people were spending £60, £70 a night just on Ubers, So for me, I was very lucky in this because as much as I was an outsider, I stood back and I was just watching everything unfold. Now, as a businessman, I could have taken it 2 ways. I could have seen it as, crap, why am I not rich? Why am I not on their level? Or I could have seen it as, okay, I've got new clients. Like I saw it as, I walked into a classroom and I didn't see it as, these are going to be classmates. These are going to be potential clients, which is a bit shallow to say, but...
But what gave you that? All right, I'm just thinking like, at that age, 11, I'm regretting. What gave you the confidence at that age to even see it like that?
Oh gosh, see, this is a battle which I'm actually trying to work out myself. Like, it's an ongoing debate online, you see, with entrepreneurs is, was it natural or was it something which was given to me? Now, I would love to sit here and tell you, listen, that's all me. Like, that's, I would love to sit here and tell you, like, that's me. But if I look back and, my dad, he was an amazing businessman as well. Like, before my mum and dad were divorced, we live in an amazing 7-bedroom place in Chelsea. He was an amazing wheeler and dealer from Turkey as well. So I'm thinking maybe that has something to do with it. But I guess a lot of it has to do with your parents as well, seeing what your parents have gone through. Like, if you're sitting here right now and what your parents, I mean, we're all first-gen immigrants, I'm assuming. The stuff that our parents went through, if that doesn't motivate you, then I don't know what will, So I'm not saying that I was motivated because of that as an 11-year-old, but it definitely did have a part to play in my subconscious. Going back to your question, I think it's really a battle between hereditary and and natural motivation from seeing what my mum went through after my mum and dad were divorced, you know, at the age of 5.
Wow.
So, yeah, definitely.
Wow. I'm just still thinking like 11 years old. I was thinking about boys and slicking my hair. I'm joking. That was way too young.
We're not judging. It was a bit of truth. Yeah.
Now we're just playing, slicking hair, watching cartoons.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Recess.
That was it.
Yeah, recess. Oh shit! I remember recess. Yeah. No,
Wow, I'm impressed. Already it's like.
No, thank you so much.
So, 11 years old. You got into this entrepreneurship skill and you're selling, you got the salesman skill coming through, you go through high school, you move up to college, continue with that. So when did you decide to start your business? Is it what age?
So this was at 17 actually. I done a post on my Instagram not too long ago. I think I even deleted it because it was so long. Where I decided at the ages of 17, like that was the turning point for me where I realized, look, listen, I'm making enough money. I know that I want to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life. You know, there was a sense of me that's saying, you know, to this day I still haven't had a CV. To this day I still haven't, you know, had a job. Like, it's just sort of built in me now, understanding that I need to be my own boss for the rest of my life now. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be employed, not in any way at all. But I'm saying like for me, I know that this is what I want in my life. And it was at 17 where. So 16, I started throwing events for students. So randomly, after selling Segways and, you know, they all blew up and stuff, I just decided to start throwing events for students. Yeah. And on the first night, we sold out like 180 tickets at £10 each. I only paid £600 for the venue and the DJ. So that was my first ever night where I made 4 figures in one night. And then after that, we just kept throwing events. We do boat parties, penthouse events. Wow. And then got to a stage where literally I was contemplating even leaving sixth form. And obviously, thankfully I didn't, but it really did get to that stage. And I was like, at that moment I knew I was going to do business for the rest of my life and started preparing myself for the life ahead. Yeah. So through personal development, understanding, you know, I remember I even used to go to Eventbrite, you know, on Eventbrite and just find events for free, go in with just a mindset, meet as many people as I can, network with as many people. And the thing is, at that age, even now at this age, and I say probably up until the ages of 24, 25, you can play the youth card. You can say, look, listen, I'm a young entrepreneur. I would love to learn. And there was not one person which turned me away. And because of that, that's where I met most of my mentors, you know, people who would guide me in the right direction. Even to this day, like I can show you my LinkedIn, like I went for a stage where I wanted to actually boost my level of surroundings. So I literally just messaged a bunch of people on LinkedIn. I just done CEO filtered search and say, hey, listen, I'm a young entrepreneur. I'd love to sit down with you for 30 minutes. I can show you afterwards the people that I met. I met 3 amazing people who are now thankfully going to be in my life, you know, for a while now, God willing. So going back to your question, 17 was the age where I knew it was game on. And since then I haven't looked back.
You're a go-getter. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just like a go-getter. He's just like, I'm going for it. It's mine. I'm going for it. And that's an attitude that most people don't really have. They struggle to find it. It's like, I've got an idea, but then I don't know if I should do it. And they start questioning, okay, let me plan a little bit more. Let me perfect a little bit more. Then I can start. But you're just like, okay, boom, I've got the idea. I'm going for it. No, you know, and that's an amazing thing. That LinkedIn thing you did there. I'm gonna be doing that.
Listen, 100%. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, like, I still had the youth, like even till now, like when this has only happened a month ago, like people love seeing young people doing amazing stuff, you know, and it sort of rubs their ego a little bit to say, you know, I just helped a 19-year-old, you know. But back to the go-getter attitude. Like one thing which I want to anybody who's listening who wants to start their business or even like a venture like this, like at a young age where there's not much to lose. Like the attitude you should go with is do, think, do. So instead of sitting back and planning out so much, go straight into it. Make the mistakes, because realistically, mistakes are inevitable. You're going to go through them anyway. Go through it. Then once you've got an idea of how it's going to work out, then you do the planning. And then you go back and do. So that's how I kind of done it. Like in my first event, goodness me, like I didn't have a poster. Like it was, you know, one of those old BBM things. Party here, like come on, leave no bad vibes, leave the bad vibes at home. And that was it. And then obviously I got my foot stuck in, and then I could go back and think, now I'm in my, you know. So yeah.
Do, think,
do. Yeah, do, think, do. Get your foot stuck in, get your right foot stuck in, understand how deep your foot is going, then put your left foot in, sort of thing, you know.
So what? Obviously, how does football come into all that time?
Yeah.
That wheeling and dealing.
Obviously, I was at Arsenal, that knee injury, you know. I'm joking. Nah, you know what? Like, football, looking back on it now, was definitely a big part. Like, even in all my football teams, I made sure I was always the captain. I always wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
And going back to your question as to where did I get my attitude from, I think it was a bit hereditary because I always wanted to be the best in everything that I do. Like, football was massive for me. Like, to probably the ages of 16, I thought I was gonna really make it far, and that was my life. But it was such a character building thing. Like, and just being in an environment of boys in the changing room where it can get heated real quick. Like, I've seen kids get bullied in there, like real bad. You know, back in the days in high school, you had the benches. It was that, but 10 times worse. And it's a like, sometimes you can find yourself in really toxic environments.
That's true.
But it's all about going through that and understanding how to get out of that. And, but going back to football, football was amazing. Like, if there was one thing I would love to be right now, I would. If I had all the money in the world, I promise you I'd be playing football like every week. I love it. Like, I keep up to date with Chelsea. Like, I'm a diehard Chelsea fan. Yeah, you're Chelsea. Yeah. Like, so who do you support?
Man United all day.
I'm so sorry to hear, bro.
I'm gonna pick Arsenal then.
Listen, bro, it happens. You know what? But no, football was massive for me in terms of making me the person that I wanted to be.
Character building.
Yeah, and I don't regret not trying harder, definitely, because I look back on it now and I would prefer to be an entrepreneur than a footballer 10 times. You know, like, their careers finish at, sorry to all the footballers, but like their careers finish at like 35, you know, and sometimes we just get going at 35, you know. And
that's true.
One thing that made me want to sit down with you was because you're not only doing this business thing, and you're not only just making money, you also take the tools you're learning and teach others. That's one thing I saw. And you've got your company that you do, the network company that you have. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Millennials Company. So when I was growing my first company, CJ Events, we were hosting events and I was trying to find people to sort of grow the company with. I'm sure we were just talking about this as well. Like, we didn't have the right connections. So I was trying to find a web developer, photographer. I couldn't find anybody. I was thinking, flipping out, like, what do I do? Like, my group chats were just full of, you know, look at this, I'm just bait posts, like, what we're doing on the weekends, you know, and then I just thought, you know what, let me go to my local church and try to host an event now. They already knew me, I was like the party kid. So like when I walked in, I was like, you're not throwing a party here. I'm at the church.
Like, not here.
So I kind of sat down with them and told them that, listen, I want to host an event strictly for entrepreneurs. We sold, like, this was like 2 years ago now, we sold around 70 tickets on Eventbrite.
Wow.
And only 13 people turned up. And this was around 2 years ago. And then...
Wait, you sold how many tickets?
70 tickets. And then only 13 people turned up, in my small church. But I can look back at it now and say, you know, that small group of 13 is now a membership of just under 1,000 in 23 different cities. And that is the TMC Network. And the main aim behind it was just to get as many young entrepreneurs as possible in one small community where all you need to do is just put in a message into our group chat and say, look, listen, I need a photographer. And, you know, it's amazing to see that 5 people reply back, or 10 or 15. And that's the TMC Network. We host events from Portsmouth all the way up until Middlesbrough. I went Middlesbrough for the first time in my life. First and last time ever. I'm joking, I love Middlesbrough. But we host events across the UK and annually, you guys I'm inviting you guys now, I'm personally inviting you guys come down to we host our biggest event of the year is our annual awards evening, where we have our best members in the room. So recently we had 400 people in our room. Just giving out Entrepreneur of the Year, Company of the Year. And you know, it's difficult. Like we were just talking about this earlier about how entrepreneurship, you can go years without seeing profit. So this is our way of saying, look, listen, as hard as it may be, we see, you know. So we really want entrepreneurship to be spoken in the same sentence as being, you know, a singer, as being an entertainer, as being a footballer, you know. And that's really what we're trying to do, you know. And it's working. People are putting in their bio, CEO of, founder of, you know. So man, that's our aim.
Impressive.
Thank you so much.
So how do you stay grounded in all of this? Like,
that's a good question.
And whatever's going on.
You know what? it's about having close friends, you know. Like, as much as I love my close friends and we love them, like my best friends, that's my family, you know, they'll always keep me grounded, man. There needs to be that bit of stick, you know, like, oh, you done amazing, and then slap me in the back of the head and say, you know, there needs to be that. Also, like, my girlfriend as well helped me out a lot. Like, it's like I always want to please her and show her what I'm doing, but then she always somehow comes back with, oh, but you should do this instead. And you know, that was grounding for me. And you know what? It's about self-development, personal development. It's about reading and understanding, you know, how do you get to a stage where no matter how successful you are, your values and morals stay the exact same. Because you know what, like money does, you know what, I strongly believe money doesn't change the person. It just brings out who the person is. Exactly. So if you get your values and morals correct from the foundation, from a young age, then you have nothing to worry about, you know? So how I stay grounded is, goodness me, I do a lot of meditation. Soul Time is an amazing app. Have you guys heard of Headspace?
No.
Headspace, it's like they partnered with Spotify. They're like an app which allows you to do meditation. Really, really good. But they've brought out a Christian version called Soul Time, which I use like weekly, which is amazing. Definitely check it out. It's real good. So back to your question, like apps. Yeah, Soul Time is
That's
good.
amazing.
Pocket Cast for podcasts, and having the right small circle around me that, like I said, will slap me in the back of the head.
That's incredible. Like, you're so young. Like, do you understand? Like, you mentioned his age slightly in there.
Slightly,
You said you're 19.
Yeah.
He's 19.
No, thank you, honestly.
That's amazing. So there, of course, a lot of people right now, they're saying, you know what? They probably follow you and say, wow, like you look like you have it together, but like you say, it didn't start yesterday. So this skill has been developed over time. But people that are currently at the stage of like, you know what, I want to do it now. I'm ready. What advice do you give to someone who's currently on that verge of like, remember you said step.
Do you think?
Yeah, but like they're in that moment of like, do I? And I'm scared. I don't have the resources.
That wilderness.
How do you advise someone like that?
It's a horrible bubble. What always got me out of it was surrounding myself with like-minded individuals. I'm telling you now, there's nothing worse than being held at a red light by yourself. You know, at least when you're being held at a red light with other people, there's that drive to carry on, you know, like your conversations change. And when your conversations change, your attitude changes, you know, like thank God I've built a network around me now where any person that I speak to, they're going to motivate me to do more. And it's like healthy competition as well. So going back to your question is, number one, you need to get your circle correct. When your circle is, I'm not saying they need to be successful in any way at all. They don't need to be. But they need to have the right attitude to be successful. I have best friends who do not care about being successful, but they still have that drive to be the best at what they do, you know, even if it's a 9 to 5 or even if it's just going down and playing football, you know. So definitely number one is surround yourself with the right people. Number two is I truly do believe that there's something really beautiful about being really down in the depths. Like, you know, when you're right down and you feel like, you know, what is the point of living? Like, even to stages like that, you know, there's something really beautiful about that which pushes you and reminds you, listen, I never ever want to be in this position in my life again. And we're all sitting here and, you know, we can be honest and say we've all been there before. And like what always helped me is understanding, is always reminiscing, you know, Chris, how rubbish did you feel when you were in that situation? And only recently, actually, like I had an amazing spell of 2 years where business was amazing for me, and I went for a really good run. And I posted on Instagram not too long ago, a few days ago, where I felt like I've really hit a hurdle. And going back to your question, what helped me is, number one is having the right people around me and remembering how rubbish and how horrible I felt when I was down in the depths. And you don't even want to, like, sometimes even get out of bed, you know, and you like, and like, sometimes like when you think about the situation, like it's like your stomach and you lose appetite, you know, that feeling. Anxiety. Oh my gosh, even like this year was the first time, and this is so weird to say, like I even had an anxiety attack like this. Like it was horrible, like, and I could never ever put, like I was an outsider to mental health, because thank God, like I've had an amazing mental health for the last 2 years and everything literally went as I needed it to go. But when I had that anxiety sort of situation, like I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I just asked her, listen, can you get out the room? And like all I done was just like pray for like 10-15 minutes. It's horrible, it's crippling. Like And what I've worked out, I've done some research into it, is it's never something which is on your mind, it's in the back of your head, which comes out, you know. And I just remembered that, and I never ever want to experience that again. I've never ever experienced such pain which isn't physical like that, you know. Like, it's
and you can't control.
It's like somebody's got you like this from behind. Like, I was like, yeah. So yeah, that's the two things. I hope that can help anybody who's in that situation.
Wow, like you're incredible. Honestly, I could sit and talk to you all day.
Thank you so much.
So much wisdom for such at your age. It's incredible because, like you're saying, the people that you're surrounding yourself with. You're sitting in the right places, you're going to the right place to get and acquire such knowledge, because sometimes people want to be successful, but where are you spending your time and who are you spending your time with is the question. So the fact that you're doing that, and you're not only are you doing it behind the scenes, you're very open about the tools and what you're using to get there, and sharing that with people. I think that's something that entrepreneurs need to do more of, is share 100%. The tools, because people out there need to understand how to become. Don't just show me where you are now. Talk to me about where to get there.
It's something I really want to go into. Like, I really want to start doing like master classes on just simple stuff like how to set up a business. Like, not a lot of people know, but we're really lucky in London that you can be a CEO for as cheap as £12. A lot of people don't know that, you know. Like, it's these little stuff which I really want to run through people and show them, look, business isn't actually difficult. Don't get me wrong, guys. Once HMRC gets on your back, then But like adding to that is you don't need to worry about HMRC until you're making a sufficient amount of money. So like there's stuff like little bits of knowledge which I've learned. Of course. Like, people don't know that I don't need to worry about VAT at the moment because you need to be making above 85,000 a year. You know, so it's just little stuff like that which people don't know, and that all comes from surrounding yourself with the right people.
Wow. Guys, I hope you guys are taking notes because this is incredible. But
I took notes.
Let me see. You know, we're going to be wrapping up soon, but before we wrap up, you know, what's the future looking like for you, business-wise?
So right now, I'm off of uni for 3 months. So I'm just working on client work at the moment with events. With TMC, we're preparing for our next season of events, which you guys are more than welcome to come through to as well. But one thing which I'm really working on at the moment is, I don't know if I should say this actually. Wait, when will this be released? Sorry.
We're still working on the date.
We're still working. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just say that. So I'm working on this thing where I posted not too long ago on Instagram where I went through a bit of a hurdle where I just didn't feel fulfilled. Like I've been in the event space, so for the last couple of years I've been clubbing and partying and sort of, you know, at the age of 19, 20 now I can walk into any sort of West End club and be comfortable and know people there. Which it shouldn't really be like that at the age of 19, you know, like that's not actually that normal, you know. But
you should just be starting.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to do stuff which is more fulfilling. So what I'm actually working on right now is I want to collect, well, I'm halfway there, but I've collected a group of 15 top sort of every single person who's doing their thing in football, politics, entrepreneurship, entertainment, 15 best people, aged from 18 to about 28, bring them all together. And what we're going to do is we're going to climb the UK's biggest mountain, which is called Ben Nevis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we're just going to do like, go away for 2-3 days, character building, no phones, but vlog the whole thing. And, you know, do something which is actually going to fulfill me. Like, instead of going on a night out and spending £200-300, invest it into this. You know. And
I was about to say I can do it, but when it said climbing something, I was
you know, it was either that or cycle to Paris.
Wow.
And cycling to Paris is,
Would you be joining them?
Nah.
I got little legs.
That's enough.
No, so that's what I'm working on at the moment, and we'll definitely be doing it this August.
That's amazing. You. I'm just gonna keep saying incredible. That's it. I have no more other words for that. Just incredible. Thank you so much for just coming and sharing your part of the world, like what you're doing, you know, and just giving us insight into your life, because it's incredible to just sit down and just be inspired. I think after this, I'm gonna be going on LinkedIn, you know, sliding in them DMs, seeing your DMs, you know,
listen,
exactly, and just connecting. But it's been amazing. amazing having you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Honestly, so yes, guys, this is Chris. I'm your girl Percy.
And I'm Joab.
You're watching How Did You Get There? Wow. That was